You were talking at the beginning about the inspiration, the original inspiration of Colonia Dignidad. Can you elaborate a little more on that, in the sense of why did you decided to make your first feature film about that element, and also that case rather, and also from there, how did you decided to make this fable, this fairy tale, in stop motion animation?
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a decision of like. Actually, the subject of the film came, I think, after deciding to make a stop motion film and like a fable. Actually, that was first, and then as we were writing the script, this subject, this inspiration started to eat the story as a virus or something. So so it wasn't like that we had this subject and this story and then we used this Photoshop filter of a stop motion animation, but it was more of the opposite. And why did we decide to work with this? I think it's like, well, Joaquín and I, we grew up during the dictatorship. So it's, for us, natural to talk about these subjects in a way in a first film that we are doing. And also, like in a more personal level, I was living in Germany at the time we started writing the script. So for me, it was also like a meeting point between the history of the country I was living in and my country. Mm-hmm. So it was also like a natural thing to do. Mm-hmm. And it's a really particular thing, the story of this sect, actually, because you have like many cults or many different communities, like the Mennonites or like this kind of communities. But in this case, they got really powerful politically in Chile, at the point that no one could escape from this colony. No one could go out freely, and no one could go in. Not even the police, the Chilean police. So, and when someone escaped, not only during the dictatorship, but also in previous governments, Chilean police would capture these people and brought them back to the colony. So that was the power that they had. They were cooperating with a lot of politicians and police officers, and so it's really mysterious how they gained this power. And it's I feel that it's something that we need to talk about, like this subject, and it's something really particular, a mix of religious fanatism, child abuse, political power, torture, and in the middle of the history of my country, of the recent history. So it's and they are still there in a way, this place is now turned into a kind of resort or like a hotel. So I would say a third of the population of the colony still live there. Some of them returned to Germany. Some of them are spread in different parts of Chile, but many of them are still there, and they run this place as a touristic place. So it's a very strange story, actually. So.
But then there's a very interesting tension, because you're talking about revisiting a fairly recent history of Chile. But at the same time, there's a tension in terms of, it seems like a kind of cautionary tale of what we're living these days, so as well. No, so I find that intriguing. Again, revisiting the immediate past, but it's so resonant in terms of the present.
Yeah, of course, and also it's like a small version of the dictatorship, but also like a small version of Chile. Also, have some other in Chile, recently, the cases of abuse by members of the church has been really something big in the media and in the in the environment of the country in general. So it has many resonance in what we are living now.
And then now, can you talk about the whole process, because I know it was many years in the making, and also talk about how the technique, because you shot basically chronological.
No.
Oh, you were not?
We didn't. What everything is I have to explain, everything is, or almost everything is real scale. No, it's not maquettes or models, but it's real rooms with real actual furnitures, and so everything is real size. And we shot the film in different museums and galleries. So because we both come from the art practice, we are both we make sculptures and we make drawings and paintings, and so we are very active in the art world. And when we started with the production, we were receiving a lot of invitations to make exhibitions, mainly in Chile, and we had to take the decision if we wanted to lock ourselves in our studio and reject any invitation, or look for a way to combine the two things. So we, in a way, we thought, how can we elegantly reject the invitations? And we said, to every invitation, we will ask them to accept us as residents in museums and galleries, and they started to say yes. So we finally, actually, it was very good because we didn't have to pay any studio for 5 years, and we had the biggest studios we could have, and so we would either use the architecture of the space or construct some kind of really precarious sets in the middle of the hall of the museum or something. And this worked, and also this allowed us to look for funds also in the art world, not only in the film, funds.
So it was 5 years of...
Yeah, 5 years of shooting, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so how do you shoot? It was not chronological, so how do you...
We started in the middle, mainly because we knew that we would change, well, we wrote the story as we were we always had a story, a complete script, but it always kept changing, So, and we knew that it would be like this because we like to change things on the process. So, we started in the middle in order to have more options to change things from the first part of the film, and also to make less obvious the evolution of the technique. So so we started in the middle. We started going forward, and then we started going like this, and the last thing we did is the last scene. So it was not really chronological.
I'm also really curious about that little prologue, which is really playful, but sort of very intriguing.
Yeah, well, I don't know if someone got this. I hope so. But the idea of the film is it's like a role-playing game. So we imagine, because at some point, some years ago, when we were writing the script, we heard about this film archive existing in the colony. It's mainly composed by documentary or fake documentary films that they would make in order to project an idea of the inner life of the colony, a fake idea, because in the colony, women and men lived separately, but they would portray happy families, for instance, and then give this to the Chilean media. So these kind of things and other things that we don't know compose this film archive, and it's supposed to be really big, but it's not public yet. So we imagine what would happen if in this film archive someone would find this kind of Walt Disney film that the leader of the colony made for the community, in order to prevent them to escape the colony. So it's like a kind of indoctrinating fairy tale. So this introduction, we hope to explain this, or to give the clues to understand this, and also we felt that many a lot of a big part of the audience that would watch the film doesn't have a clue about this colony, so we needed to give a context to understand something of what you are about to watch.
But in that sense, of course, the case was very big in Chile, and
yeah.
So how was there any big difference in terms of the reception of the film internationally versus locally? What was how's been the film received locally in Chile?
Yeah, I think what I get, the receptions that I get normally are in this context, like Q&As, and I normally explain the context. So they have already the idea of what is it about. So I think it's not so different. Normally like Q&As abroad, not in Chile, turn around like this subject, the colony, because like we have to explain a lot about what it is, because it's a really strange case, I think. Yeah.
One other question before we open the floor. Was there any moment in these 5 years that you said, what did we get into?
Every day, I think. No, but it was like a very, like, we enjoyed a lot of the process. It was not like suffered process or something, but I love to do that, like, and yeah, it's great. I also like the idea of making it public, the production, and have, because we would produce in front of the audience, and sometimes the people in the museum would offer themselves as like assistants for the animation. So in a way, we ventilated the process, and that helped a lot to be like less crazy and to be more like, yeah, it felt like we already showed the film, the dailies, the advances of the film as we were doing it. So I never had the feeling that it wasn't like a public thing, but it was more like, it was always like public and open, like. Yeah.
Shall we take some questions from the audience?
What would you say is your role and Joaquin's role, and like how do you collaborate, or who starts with what ideas, and like how do you feed off each other?
We've been working with Joaquin like 10 or 12 years already, and we don't really have roles. Like it's really, we write together, we both draw, paint, we make the figures. So we don't really, we don't have separate roles at all. Like it sounds like I'm lying or something, but it's really like we share like, we like it this way. Also, like of course, like we are better for one thing or another, like each of us, but we don't believe so much in like that a better drawing will make a better picture, like so. We find interesting this mix and this to create, in a way, not like perfect images, but also like systems that can contain different styles and different, like, in a more organic way. And also we allow our friends to come and draw and paint, and like also like spontaneous assistance in the museum. And so we believe more in systems than in like hand, like or a style. It's more like like an organic thing that is growing. So that's why we allow ourselves to do everything. Like,
in what context did you meet and you decided to start working together?
We weren't like classmates in the university, but we knew each other from that time. So we had like friends in common, and at one point we decided, I went to an exhibition of drawings that Joaquin was doing, and I said to him, let's make a film together. I was working in animation, he wasn't, and I thought that it could work well, and it was like, this was like 12 years ago. We made a short film called Lucia, and also we invited Nail Satala. So the three of us directed this, and it was wonderful, and we, like, since that day, we have the production company together. We made like 3 feature films now, like Rey. I don't know if any of you.
Actually, we show it here exactly a year
exactly.
ago with Niles.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's like a nice circle.
So yeah, we kept working together since then. Like.
Great. Sure. Okay. Let's go first here because the mic is closer, and then we'll go back.
So I saw in the credits at the end, there was a woman with the last name Verle, like Maria from the story. Is she related to her?
Yeah. Maria was originally inspired by the girlfriend I had at the time we started writing the film or producing the film. So yeah, she was my Swiss girlfriend. It was a joke when we were like writing the script. We said, because we took that decision of inspired the character on her at the beginning, and we said, why don't we use her last name? And it stayed until the end. Like, yeah. I think it was also like a kind of like this is really personal, but like when we separated, she made a book about our relationship. It was like something really, so it was a kind of dedicatoria, how you say?
Dedication.
Dedication of the film, but like a hidden dedication. Like, yeah.
Has she seen the film?
Hmm?
Has she seen the film?
I hope she hasn't seen the film.
She's here in the audience, just kidding.
I'm just wondering about the sound design. I noticed in the credits that you worked with Claudio Vargas, and there was like one section that said sound experimentations, and that you worked with him. I'm curious about that, and especially about the moment where that one of the songs, or talk a little bit about the songs. Where did you get them? Did you get them from this archive that you're talking about, or did you invent them? I just want to know about that.
Yeah, it's about Claudio Vargas. Claudio Vargas is not actually, or he was not, now it is, of course, he was not a sound designer, but someone who works doing direct sound in films, but he's really good, and we heard some experimentations he was doing, and also we found in him someone who would take time to work as slowly as we did with the animation, because we had the opportunity to work with Roberto Espinosa, who is maybe like the biggest sound designer in Chile, and who would dedicate 2 weeks for the film, and we were dedicating 5 years for the film. So it was like, we cannot do it that way, We need someone who can work as organically as we are doing it, and as slowly as we are doing it. So slowly as. So we worked with Claudio during the 5 years of the production, and we would give him the dailies, the advance of the film, and he would he would start doing it. And I think he made I love the work he did, and so he created a lot of layers. We had a decalogue, like 10 commandments for the animation, and he created his own 10 commandments, including like a rule that stated that he could not download any file from the web or use libraries or something. So he would create every single sound at home, scratching the walls or wrapping paper or stuff like that with his son, his little son, also he was helping him. And yeah, it was. And then there was this final process when we would, the two directors, we would start taking layers away, and depurating the sound. And many of the music comes from a collection of vinyls that I have, and that I started collecting during the time of the film, mainly German music, of course, and Wagner and stuff like that, and then with Claudio we started experimenting different ways of recording these vinyls, slowing them down, manually, and with the finger, or as we were playing the LPs, and yeah. So and also I bought some toy instruments, and we started also with Claudio experimenting with this, trying to play the melodies of the film with this toy, trying to get the melodies. And a lot also comes from the improvisations of Amalia Casay, the actress of Maria, not on the set, but on the studio. And then Claudio composed these songs with these improvisations. So it's a mix. And there is one particular song that comes from an album that the colony itself released. It was the Coros Dignidad, the choir of Colonia Dignidad. And it's, it's the song when the three characters are singing in this kind of choir. And that song is actually taken directly from this album. So it's a mix of different things.
Since you brought her up, can you talk about the casting of the voice of Amalia? And she also did the voices for Pedro and Ana. Right?
Yeah. We needed someone who could speak like German natively, but also like Spanish, like Chilean Spanish with German accent. So our possibilities of cast was really reduced. And also like who was an actress, like because we needed someone who could work professionally and dedicate a lot of time for it. And so we casted, I think, like 4 people, and Amalia was wonderful from the beginning, and yeah, it was like, it was like really, really great. And finally, she has worked in a lot of projects related to Colonia Dignidad because of this particularity that she's German, Chilean. So she has made like a kind of 2 theater plays, and she's working in some other films about it. So it was really like her expertise on the subject was wider than ours, I think.
I wanted to know also that you collaborate with Ale Moffat for the script. So for the script, you write it in collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to hear a little bit about that process. And also I'm curious about, like, did someone from the colony has seen the film? And what was the reaction?
Mm-hmm. The first question, we worked together with Alejandra Moffat, a very talented writer and a script writer who lives in Mexico. She is Chilean, but lives in Mexico. And she started working as we said, can you make classes of script writing? Like, can you give us a workshop or something? And by doing this, we realized that she became like naturally like a third script writer. So we had already established the base of the story, but then she helped us to make it like more like to construct better a more solid narrative, and also like mainly also to write the dialogues. So we would work like we would like have like a Google Drive file, and then the 3 of us would work like intervening this, like. So yeah, that was the way we worked in the script. And she always like mentioned, because we were like improvising a lot on the set. So at some point she would receive a call like, "Hey Ale, now Maria is a bird, so we need another scene where Maria is a bird, to make more sense." So things like that, like. So. And the colony, no, no, I don't think. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I don't think someone of the colony has seen the film. It's really like, I want to do it. I mean, we need to show it to people in the film. But it's really, there is something about the colony that it's not impossible. Now it's more clear, but it's like a subject and it's like news in development, So, and it's really difficult to establish who is a victim and who is a victimary in the colony. Like, at some point, everyone is both. So it was hard to know who should we approach. And now we understand better, or like I've been like studying the subject better, and I would like to approach some people and show them the film, but we had not yet.
We'll take 1 or 2 more. There was a question all the way in the back, or? Yeah.
I feel a little bit like I'm missing a piece, in the sense that you could see that there's a weightiness to being part of a colony where you're not free to do things. But when you're talking about the politics of it, I'm wondering, how did the government benefit from these people? I mean, how do they persist for generations?
Well,
somebody must be benefiting.
Particularly the dictatorship, the colony worked as a concentration camp for the dictatorship, and also they trained the agents the like repressive forces of the dictatorship to torture. So that's what the benefit that they got. And I don't know, it's really still it's a mystery, because in the dictatorship it's really obvious that they got like intelligence benefits, like they would offer like intelligence services for the dictatorship, and also like they served as a concentration camp, as a like extermination camp. But in other governments is the real mystery, why in the Allende's socialist government no one like intervened this place, or Frey government, like, you know, like rather like liberal governments before the dictatorship that didn't have the will to really change this. And that's the real mystery, and no one has really clarified this. Like, it's not really clear, it's really obscure how they got really powerful. There seems to be like politicians involved in sex abuse, like children abuse cases, but it's not really clear. Like,
Time for one more question.
it's more like even like there was a circle of protection for Colonia Dignidad, a circle of friends of Colonia Dignidad, and many of politicians that are active now were part of this circle. Like even like our Minister of Justice now in Chile, he was like the president of the Circle of Friends of Colonia Dignidad. It's really like it's really crazy. Like.
Yep, back there.
What were your main artistic inspirations, aside from like maybe other stop motion films that you've loved, but you know, specifically like in creating your art, what were your biggest inspirations, or Joaquín's?
I don't know, like this is hard. Like I think David Lynch is someone we talk a lot about, and we thought maybe when we were doing this film, we thought we were doing our Eraserhead or something. Like maybe, of course, Jannes Frank Meyer, I have to mention him, even if we don't watch a lot his films, and we don't talk a lot about him, but it's something that is really present, of course, and we always look a bit like him. Yeah, but different stuff, I don't know, it's so wide, I don't know.
It's been a year since you premiered the film. Are you working on a new project, another five?
We're working now on a series of paintings, and we are like, through this, we hope we will find a way to write a script. Yeah, but yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard to concentrate on any project because it's been really crazy time with the film. Like this year, I've been traveling all year long, so. Yeah.
We look
And
forward.
I'm working on a couple of short films too.
We look forward to seeing them. Thank you so much, Cristóbal.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming. Hope to see you tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday. Thank you.